It's the Wolf Media Festival podcast. And now, here's your hosts, Richard Wilmore and Jacquelynn Wolfheart.
Hi, friend.
Oh, we're starting. Hi, good morning. I feel like this episode should be the previously on the Wolf Media Fest podcast, because this is like it should be, that's how I feel it should be. So I'll have to talk to the producer and see if we can figure that out.
We'll figure it out. Yes. Behind the scenes. Yes.
How does it feel to be back in season 2?
Season 2 it's great so far. I had somebody else booked for us to interview. Seems like the sweetest person, but then I had family issue. My husband had to go to the hospital, and so I was hey, I don't know when he's going to be back, so I have to cancel you. And so I'm not wanting to cancel our very few guests that were getting booked, but I had to. He seems very, very sweet. His name's not popping to my brain at the moment.
Okay, just in case we never get him back on here, then it won't feel so bad.
Yeah, but he was a film winner, and it was very funny. It was a short film, but I think it was maybe around 20 minutes long or so, and it was very funny. So I do hope we get him on, and he seems like a lovely human. So please come back.
When I message you, lovely humans.
Yeah,
that's all we do. Are we skipping over? My husband was in the hospital. Are we just skipping over that? Are we not talking about that?
Oh, he has stomach problems. So he just has stomach bleeding all the time, and he had to go get staples, and some inside of his intestines stapled. Nothing major.
We should be recording that. You could record that and then put that in. That could be a podcast / a submission. Remember when Katie Couric went into her own colon on live TV?
Yeah, I've seen other people do their own vasectomies and other colonoscopy things. I've seen that. I don't know if my husband would be open to that idea.
Oh, right. Tom Green, he recorded his cancer surgery.
Oh, yeah. Tom Green. Have you been Tom Green yet on your show?
I've not been Tom Green on my show.
Because he did have his own talk show for a bit. So if people haven't been watching, you should go watch Richard. He has been announcing that he is not Richard every day. So I love it. I personally love it. Every time I'm always like, wait, what? Even though I know it's a running. You've been doing it for a while now. At least 30 shows you've done it, I feel.
Do you know where I got that idea from?
No.
Where I get all my ideas from. I stole it from Rosie, of course.
Oh, you stole it from Rosie.
Back when Rosie was on, she was a VJ on VH1, a show called Stand Up Spotlight.
Okay.
And she said, it was an hour, she was there all day long, and she'd say 4 times an hour, I'd have to say, oh, this is Rosie O'Donnell. Welcome to Stand Up Spotlight. So I got sick of saying my name. So I just started saying oh, hi, welcome to Stand Up Spotlight. I'm Shaka Khan. And then she would start.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love Rosie. So that makes sense. I should have guessed before you even asked the question. I should have been I bet Rosie did that.
Yes. Oh my God, Rosie just liked one of my TikTok comments. I can't even handle it.
Nice. I saw you retweet some of her, some stuff about her recently, and I think something from her as well. I love that I'm getting a lot of Rosie content all of a sudden, because I don't think I only follow people I know, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting her content, and I'm I love the people I know, because that means they're resharing her stuff. So it's kind of wonderful.
Yes, Team Rosie.
Unfortunately, it's wonderful.
I have no comment. Here, let me just. I'll see my mug.
Oh, nice.
Do you see what it says?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Rosie freaking O'Donnell. That's not why we're here.
Yeah, we're here to do the next part. I can't say the final part because I don't know yet, but we are doing the next part of how to fail or succeed at owning a festival.
Yes. And today we're actually going to talk about the festival. The 3-day event. What are we calling it?
It was a festival. It was a 3-day festival.
Annual event. I took notes last time. These are all
annual event. And I just want everybody to know that I don't know the questions that Richard's asking. So that is
This
why
is
I
true.
sound stupid.
You don't sound stupid. I just have pages of notes of things I want to know. So
I just
here we
had to
go. And
cut
then
out so many when I was editing. Like clip.
because yes, that's why I do mine live, so I don't have to do that. Okay, we're gonna set a timer again because we all know that Jacquelynn can talk a lot. Ready? 30 minutes. It's a game show too. God, this is why I love this show. Okay, you just let me do whatever I want. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so the annual event, was this which was taken, your first one was this past April, the one that you planned from beginning to end.
Yep.
But was this the first time that it had been done, or did the previous owners also have a festival?
They also had a festival which included only film screenings and an award ceremony. And
Okay.
but this was the first time it was in the United States. It was never in the United States before. So this was our first time in this area, first time in this country at all. But from what I got and what I've seen of other pictures, it seemed like people were coming from around the world to go to. Not that it was huge. I mean, ours wasn't huge. I feel like ours, I'm thinking specifically of the awards ceremony. Like, I feel like their awards ceremony was about the size of ours, but there was film people from like LA and stuff at their event as well. So,
and to backtrack a little bit, so you purchased the festival did you say May or June of 2020?
in June. Yep, in June. Yep.
And then the podcast started in August. At what point did you say, oh, I need to do like an annual event?
I knew from day one that we were going to do an annual event. That was always the number one thing. At minimum, an annual awards ceremony in person, not just me emailing everybody like, here's your certificate, but actually an awards in person, celebrate them to the max. And then I had big ideas of festival.
We're gonna get into that. Yes.
I did have big ideas, as mentioned previously, because I had worked at conventions as a guest of my previous work, but also behind the scenes helping set up other ones. I was like, I'm going to take all the best of the best things and put them into a whole weekend.
And was it always 3 days, or is it ever like, we're just gonna do this one day, and then it turned into a 3-day event?
From what I think I know is that it was just a one day, like a full day of film screenings. And then at the end of the day was their award ceremony. I am like 99% sure that's what they did previously, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
And then you thought, I'm just going to blow it out of the water and do 3 days?
Yeah, we had so many films that I was like, how do you fit all those into one day? And so many other things that were going to be taking place. How do you fit that all into one day? And how much work it takes to just set up your one day. I'm like, I'm not going to take that down at the end of the day. I was there at 4:00 in the morning. I'm not staying until 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. So 3 days. Can you tell everybody what city it was in, and like where you held it?
This year it was in Melbourne, Florida. I only did that because I live in Melbourne, Florida. It was just, I thought for my first one, keep it easy, convenient for myself. We do have a pretty good film industry in the area of like independent filmmakers, but we're not the best state for filmmaking because of tax credits and all that kind of stuff. But I still thought it's worldwide. This is a great place to vacation. This is we're right on the beach. And good weather in April. April's like the best weather here. No downpouring rain and that kind of stuff. So I thought, here's a great place to have it. Keep it easy, convenient for me. And then we held it at the Hilton, which is, they have like a whole ballroom area, a whole bunch of business rooms. I'm not really sure what you would call them, but like event rooms. And that was the kind of the only option we had around here to use if we were going to go as big as we were going.
Do you know how many? So you had the big like ballroom, and then all of the like event spaces, conference rooms, like you had rented. It looked like every time I turned around, there was a new room that was opening up into that was something. Do you know how many well, I'm sure you do. How many rooms altogether that you had rented out?
Now I can't remember. I'm going to say it's 9 rooms total, but I got to go through 6, 7, 8. No, there was 9 rooms total, plus the outside back courtyard was actually ours as well that we didn't even utilize.
So now I have to ask, how much money was spent on that weekend?
Okay, so this is one thing, my advice for everybody is read your contracts deeply. For us to rent the rooms that we were working in for the 3 days that we had was about $2,000. However, and so all the other film festivals were telling me that is such a good deal.
Yeah.
That is an amazing deal. However, in our contract, it also said we had to fill the hotel rooms with guests as well. And rooms that were not filled, we would be charged for. So we were just on renting alone, looking at, and if people weren't filling up, like assuming that nobody rented a room, we were looking at about $80,000. And that's just for the location. That's not any of the decorations or things like that. So also in addition to the room, like to the rooms we were having the festival in, it was required I spend a minimum of $10,000 on food. So that's part of the $80,000 was the $10,000 on food. So that was just that. Just the location, food requirements, filling hotel rooms. We did not fill hotel rooms, and we didn't fill a lot of hotel rooms. So we did negotiate with them, and the cost of just the location ended up being $43,000 for us.
Okay, and then what about, because there were people you paid to show up, there were musicians that were, like, you had acts come, there was a lot. All of those rooms had stuff in them. I know there was equipment. So what was like end total? Do we even know that yet? Our in total ended up being close to about 80,000 as well after we negotiated down the hotel stuff. So had the hotel not been so nice to us and let us get off with some of that, we would have been over $120,000 in spending, because all the additional stuff that we got was close to a little under $40,000. Just in all the other stuff we ended up buying, and not just stuff we bought, but like paying people and flying people in and stuff like that. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Normal for festivals to fly the nominees in, fly people in. Is that normal?
So we did not fly nominees in. They all came on their own, which was, so we'll get into it later, I'm sure, which was a little heartbreaking for me to have all these people spend, hundreds to thousands of dollars on their travel there, and then have things ended how it ended. But it is normal for them, festival to, well, sometimes you're lucky and you get a lot of volunteers, but it is normal to have a staff. It is normal to pay for celebrity guests to come in, things like that. So I was bringing in staff, so that was part of my cost. And we ended up not even like paying for some of the things I wanted to pay for. Like you and I had talked about in the beginning, I was wanting to pay for clothing for everybody as well. And because I'm sure we'll get to this as well, but we originally had some sponsors lined up. So we would have been able to do that had other side on the back end, not fail through. But there was stuff I wanted to pay for that we couldn't pay for even.
What was when you first were like, okay, I need to start planning the event, did you have a budget in mind of like, okay, here's the budget for that weekend?
Our total budget for the weekend, and not reading what our contract was, we thought we were aiming for 20,000, but our budget was 25,000, just an extra 5,000 to, make up for just in case, right? But we were trying to keep it under 20,000. And that was even after we signed the contract, not realizing that the hotel rooms were part of it. So we instantly went over our budget.
Was there any moment where you were like, I can't do this, or we need to pull back, or it needs to be or was it just blinders on, let's do this?
I think my heart had blinders on, let's do this. Yeah. But in October, I don't even know if I can talk about this stuff. In October, I did, so we had all the hurricanes and stuff in end of September, early October. And a lot of our people who were buying tickets were already asking for refunds and things like that. So I messaged the Hilton to cancel our contract. And we were we had until like October 25th or something to cancel our contract. And I think it was about October 15th, I emailed them to cancel our contract. And I wasn't going to end the event. I was just going to find something different. If we're just going to a freaking Applebee's to have an award ceremony, that's what we were going to do.
Everybody gets a blooming onion as
something like that. And it's on me. Hey, everybody come eat. So that's, I emailed to cancel, and they refused to let me cancel. So yeah. So that is part of why we did. Then we had to get lawyers and all this stuff for our side. This is also still, Wolf Film Festival had not given us everything at that side was still in contract. We weren't going to own Wolf Film Festival until January 1st or January 15th anyways. But so we weren't even Wolf Film Festival yet, but we had to get lawyers already involved. And, that is why they let us negotiate down at the end of things, negotiate down the price. But originally, they were not letting us out of the contract. And this is Hilton, a big, giant corporation who it was plenty of time they could have filled that with a wedding or something, But at the end, and all our lawyers involved, because we did go through with the event. Had we not, we probably would have got away with not spending anything. But because we did go through with the event, we ended up still paying over $40,000 to them. So, it was a mess. It was a mess.
That's I think an episode, in and of itself.
How much legality it goes into behind the scenes, I was not prepared for. I just was not. And when I worked at festivals before, I was a celebrity booker. I would book celebrities to come to those festivals. So I kind of had my toes in like contracts and booking fees and stuff. And so you would think I would know better. And I didn't. I didn't know better. I was just too blindsided. Like, we're going to change people's lives.
Yes. Okay. So up until this point, we're not even like there yet. I don't want us to talk about the actual weekend, but from the choosing a location, contracts, budgets, what would you say that you either like learned or that people like, what's the lesson from all of that?
So my biggest lesson I mentioned already is read your contracts and read them 17 times more so you can breathe in everything it's saying. If you don't know every single word in that contract, don't sign it yet. That's the biggest lesson I think I've learned with that side of things. Well, actually, with all the sides of things, all these lawyer stuff I had going on in multiple directions, it all came down to contract this and contract that. And so that was the number one. But I think also our our date of choice was not a good choice either.
Oh yes, that's coming up. Yes.
So no,
That's an upcoming question. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, without giving that part away, because I don't know what your question is, but I would say know what's going on around you at the same time. Maybe other events, other festivals, just other town activities that might be pulling away from your festival. And then know what a big thing with us too is know who hates your festival and might be against your festival. So that's a whole nother thing as well.
Yes. Another huge, obviously, thing when you're doing any major event would be sponsors. And we touched a little bit on it. Can you talk about what that process was like? Because I know oftentimes we would talk before a podcast recording about how things were going, and there was a sponsor and then there wasn't a sponsor, and how that felt to go through that. Oh, also, wait, first question. How many people were involved in planning this entire thing? Like, was it just you making all of these decisions, or did you have a team around you to help with all of this?
The original plan was until January 15th, I was to have their team helping me in planning. Same thing around October. They all disappeared except one person. I remember her first name is Bianca, but I can't remember her last name. She was the only one who I've never met in person, and I've never even videoed with her. She was the only one left for whatever reason. And she was still on payroll. Everybody was still on payroll. Every single person on their team was still on payroll. And but she was the only one doing anything. So basically at that point, after October, it was literally just me, aside from judging, but all the festival stuff was just me, because I didn't have the funds to delegate out and things like that. So that would be like my next advice, is not necessarily funds, but who can help you, how can they help you, when can they help you. I mean, my husband was doing website stuff a lot for us, but that was it. That was literally it. Begging my children. I have adult children. Begging them, you live in my house for free. Can you just go do this thing? You know, I have a very artsy child. Can you go do this artsy thing for me? He's too busy napping or whatever. So yeah, I would say that's a big one, is know who's going to help you, and don't expect anybody to help you just because you think they're going to. Like, I really expected that my family would be in on this, and they weren't. So.
Especially on such a large scale that you did it. Hoping to bring in people from all around the world, like probably bringing in professionals in event planning and promotions and all of those areas would be helpful for people, and not using family who might just know how to run to the store and grab something.
But even that would have been so helpful.
Well,
making me want to strangle them. Like, you couldn't even do that for me. I just needed Scotch tape. Please just go get me some tape.
Yeah.
But I think so. I have a problem where I like to pay people, even if it's not as much as they're worth. I would rather you not volunteer. If I'm going to potentially make money off something, you better be getting money too. So I think that was like part of my problem too, is there was like a lot of the other festivals offering me free advice and saying they're willing to meet with me, but I'm like, I don't have money to pay you right now. And so brushing them off, you know, and that was a dumb thing. I'm not going to change how I am, but other people think about that. You know, it maybe in hindsight, they could have offered me advice that led to money that I could have paid them later. I just don't want people working for free. It's against my beliefs.
And then you end up working for free.
Yes. All the time.
Yeah. Let's talk about the sponsors and your work at getting sponsors, and how that went, and what happened there.
That was a very frustrating thing, because I probably sent out 1,000 emails and 1,000 phone calls to various places, more than 1,000 emails for sure, but probably about 1,000 phone calls. And most people just ignore. And I, from their point, I understand they're probably constantly being bombarded with somebody else just wants money from them. So I get it. We're not standing out in any way. I get it, but it was also so frustrating for them just to not hear back at all, for them to even just be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not interested. But we did have a few people donate items. I wish I could remember this company. It's in Florida, but a jewelry company gave us gift cards to give out to people, which doesn't help doesn't help us, but it's cool for the event. And we had a few people give items that could be prizes, which I'm still so grateful. Like, that was really nice of them. And they were all small businesses as well. None of these big businesses. But then we got 2 potential big sponsors. And the first one was for about $20,000. But because we were not actually contracted over yet to be full owners of this, they had to back out too soon. And then I think the other one, which was like a THC vape company, which I don't smoke, not at all, but we were on 420 weekend. So they were willing to sponsor us. And I think I messaged you about this one because I was so excited. It was for $80,000. And that's before I knew that it was costing us $80,000. But I was going to be able to give you and Kyle this big fat chunk of money. And me and my husband sat down and talked about, like, this amount we'll save for you guys, and this amount, like, and I was so excited. So I think that's the one I talked to you about. But then we got into more stuff where the film festival was not after our contract where they gave it over to us. They were not actually giving it over to us. So that company also had to back out. And that was, I don't even think I ever told you that. I think I was just like, I got money for you, bro. And then I didn't ever have money for you. And I never explained why. But yeah, that was exciting to have 2 potential big. And I think that would have changed a lot about our festival to have somebody else's money to do things. Would have been helpful.
How did you find, because you said you sent out thousands of emails and all of that, like, what were you looking, like, how did you find businesses? What was your strategy for finding who you would reach out to?
Yeah, I'm not really sure I had the best strategy, but I was thinking of, my first thought was like, what kind of festival are we? We're this, right? We target these types of arts. So I was reaching out to companies that work with those types of arts, camera makers, at both videography and film, or like digital picture cameras, whatever I'm trying to say right now. Looking at companies like that, book publishers, things like big names. I didn't want to target anybody who I thought was also struggling, even if I thought we would be a good match. I would have really hate that they are like, here's $5,000, and then we mess up and they get nothing. You know what I mean? So I was trying to go for these bigger companies that could really help us, and in turn, then we would actually really be able to help them. I did target veteran-owned companies because my husband is a veteran. But again, companies that I thought were big enough. I tried to stay away from anything political. That was for me, I think that was great. For other people, I think that's probably the way to go, is look for what aligns with your political views. But I personally was trying to make us not political. And then I started thinking about what the weekend was, what weekend we were having it on. And 420 was one of the days. So that's when I started reaching out to companies like that. Again, I'm so lame. I don't drink alcohol. I'm not lame. People who don't do that aren't lame, but me personally, I am lame. But I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke weed or any of that. So it's just not who I am. It's just never who I've been. So I'm coming in here like really blind. It is like learning a new language where I'm like, hey, just smoke that tequila today. Like I have no idea what I'm talking about with those kind of companies. And so trying to make pitch decks specifically to them was not fun for me, because I'm like, does that even make sense? I don't know. kids.
I mean, it was Easter weekend. We should have reached out to Cadbury to,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Which I didn't. I thought for a bit there, I did think about talking to churches and seeing what kind of involvement they would want. But I'm like, well, I don't want to take away their, church. Easter weekend is kind of a big weekend for churches. So I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to take away from their Sunday show, but there was churches I thought aligned with a lot of the stuff we were doing. So I thought about it, but I never committed. But for other people, that might be like if we were holding a festival that was specifically about like helping victims, churches would be a great way to, get the word out and things like that. So I'm not saying don't, but for us, we couldn't. So.
Yeah. What about what did you actually send them? So when you're reaching out to a company or a potential sponsor, what are you sending them?
Lots of things. So I was doing a lot of research about companies, and I was trying to make a pitch deck individualized to a lot of the companies. I mean, all my pitch decks were individualized, but it was like I might have one pitch deck that is about books, and then I can just change a few things in it to fit that particular company. But I'm also sending them business plans. So this was a perk of buying a festival from somebody else, is the longevity that we can say we've had, the success we say we had in the past. That is something we could actually say and include in our business plan and our investment pitch. And so a lot of various documents. I know how. I did my bachelor's is in business management, so I do know how to write all that kind of stuff. But I would say for people who don't, this is probably something you're going to want to talk to people about, because it gets really detailed and there's a lot of math involved. And I like math, so it's fun for me. But there was a lot of math involved and a lot of business research involved in everything. So I would say this is somebody, if you don't know how to do that, have never done that, you're not going to be able to go to AI and ask AI, write me a business plan. They might give you some good outlines or something. I don't really know what it would give you, but it's not going to work. Okay. You're going to need somebody who's had experience writing to do that.
Perfect. Okay. Well, leading up to, this is a good stopping point. And then next time we'll go into card number 2. So what we've just talked about with the sponsors and budgeting, what would you say are the takeaways from that?
Sponsors and budgeting, don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, I couldn't really foresee that the festival wasn't going to stick to their plan. And I get why they did. They owed a lot of back taxes, and they were originally trying to not transfer that debt to us. So originally it started out very nice of their reasoning of like, let's hold this off. But as we grew and we're making more money, they wanted to keep things. And how our contract was written, if we dropped out, they got everything back. If we just like gave up. So it was like, we either fight harder or we give up. And I didn't want to just give up and lose everything. So, but getting ahead of myself on searching for sponsors before we were technically 100% owners was probably not the best idea. Budgeting, again, read your contracts, know what you're getting into. That's a really big one, especially when it comes to like venues and things like that. I think our room rental and even our food fee, I thought those were great prices. But having to fill the hotel was not a great thing for us. So yeah, I would just say like know your contracts so you can budget properly and figure out where you want to put your money from your budget ahead of time. That I think that part is probably a whole nother episode itself to say about where to put your money. But if you don't know what your contract says, you can't know where to put your money. And if you don't own the business, you can't get sponsors. So
yes. Sponsors, very important when you're doing something like this, because that's where the money is. Oh, look, perfect. Our time is up. Okay, this is great. Stop doing that. Next time, we're going to talk about promoting the festival, the weekend. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the venue. We're not going to dog on the actual venue, but like what you should be looking for in a venue, and ticket sales and attendance and the whole weekend itself. So we're actually going to get into it next time.
I think we got some good, even though I blabbered a lot, I think we got some good points in here. I'll have to like make a bulletin at the beginning. Here's the bulletin of the good points. That's
a good thing for AI.
To
do the transcript and figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. I hope you're start now planning your festival for 2027 probably. And then by then it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
But until then, just like, subscribe, and share this episode.
Exactly. Bye. I love everybody.
See ya.
Wolf Media Festival Podcast with Richard Wilmore and Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Produced and edited by me. I'm Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to find ways you can connect with our guests. Thanks for checking us out today and tuning in every week wherever you get your podcasts.